بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا حبيب الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا نبي الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا خاتم النبيين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عدد ما في علم الله صلاة دائمة بدوام ملك الله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
This salam is to our panel today. We have the return. Aye.
Of the southerner.
Yeah, the return of Bilal. Those that remember this face, it was a popular face in Ramadan.
Yeah.
Okay. An icon in Ramadan who brought up a lot of things. One of his famous lines, which I memorized back then, was what was it?
He forgot it.
No, that was a separate scenario.
Algorithms?
Yeah, it was an algorithm, and then something spectrum. What was it? There was a line you used many times over.
No idea.
He forgot it
Anyways,
himself.
but it was something like that, which I remembered back then. But Alhamdulillah, Bilal is back, but only for today, I guess.
Inshallah.
Yeah. But that's because, of course, he works down south in Surrey. But he's here with us. Inshallah, we'll benefit from him. And today's podcast has no subject. It's called Mix Up. I've been told it's supposed to be something new, something exciting, something one-liners.
Serious? Okay.
So many things
Tell
I've
me
heard about it.
Acha. So, are we going to send out the link?
Yeah, you got it? Okay, guys, just give me a minute. Let me send out the link. Doc.
Okay. So basically, what we're going to do today is I'm going to pick on a topic, and all three of you are going to give me the best one-line sentence that you can on it. Yeah, and it has to be a practical solution. Yeah, that people can do. Yeah, Bilal's getting worried. He didn't want to come back.
No, Bilal does a thing enough reading anyway. If anyone, I'm going to suffer in that, because one-liners, in English at least, you've got to be reading English books to know the one-liners. That's not me.
You never read an English book, okay?
Well, for the last few years, it's not been my top priority.
But Muslims don't generally read anyway, so you, with the masses.
We memorize.
You memorize? MashaAllah. Right, okay. So we're going to send out this link first of all to viewers.
What was he talking about? That's your one-liner.
Is it?
Yeah, he's done it.
Finish the argument with that line. We memorize, that's it.
We
We don't
memorize.
read, we memorize.
He doesn't
So
realise
here
how
it
good he
comes.
is. Right.
I've sent it out to my groups, not just on my broadcast.
Right,
G.
okay. So today, either we're going to really blow it, because people are going to say they don't know what they're talking about, or we're going to make it really good. Yeah? So...
Who's going to be asking the questions? Is it only going to be you, Doc, or
yeah, no.
do we mix it up?
No,
so
no.
different
Only I
people-
ask questions. No, I have to keep my izzat.
Dictatorship. this.
No. This is dictatorship. I mean, this is what works in the world today. Yeah, people go around and think that they can boss other people around, and they come back after many years.
Okay, for last week, I also want to apologize. I think the last week podcast, partially my fault.
What
I
are you going to
became-
tell them what happened?
I became ill. Yeah, why not share it?
All right.
So
then.
basically, what happened?
It's all
Podcast
amongst family.
takes place in one of the basements. All the panel, the hosts, the guests, everyone was sat on the living room,
Upstairs.
while the technician had set up everything in the basement.
Downstairs.
I had a migraine, so I went to sleep. Nobody from the crew bothered coming to the basement and checking is all set up or not.
Yeah, especially those who live
So-
here.
Yeah, so they stayed here. Yeah, they were in the living room till 5 a.m. Till 5 a.m. they were here in the living room, but no one bothered in those 6 hours to go downstairs and check
This
those
is
things
the
set up.
This is the state of the ummah.
You waiting till 5 a.m. for manager. What a migraine.
So
Okay.
I came down and I checked, and I honestly thought when I came down about 12:30ish, thinking podcast is over, and I genuinely came down and asked him how's the podcast, and every one of them goes, it was wicked amazing. I was like, Jalo, alhamdulillah. I came downstairs after that, so yeah, the cameras, everything was set up. I genuinely, no lying, I actually genuinely thought there was a podcast, cameras, everything was set up. Mehman was sat upstairs having already finished.
Saqib was here for 1 hour, and then he thought he'll leave on his own. Acha, why have we got this stop islamophobia on poster?
Oh,
on
I think that's probably from the thumbnail. That'll be changed.
Okay, so shall I send it out anyway?
Yeah, just send it out. It's the
Right,
link.
okay. Right, okay.
So that's last week's. I partially take blame for it, but the rest of the blame lies. I take 10% blame
10%.
for being ill. The 90% is for all those that were here and didn't do anything about it. And Thaki, by the way, is exempt. The technician. He
Oh,
did his bit.
he's exempt, yeah. But
That
you
only
know,
leaves one person in this room then.
yeah, 70% blame should go on the.
There's another side to it.
Oh, go on.
But the person who was organizing for the marriage and went to sleep didn't inform anyone. That's after the announcement.
Right.
See, look, this is the state of the ummah.
The state of the ummah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's my first
Whoa,
question.
whoa! Since when have we started representing the ummah?
Yeah, well, we do represent them.
We are
We're
part of the
here on
ummah.
podcast
Yeah, we're part of the ummah.
representing.
Yeah,
Wait.
the ummah podcast.
More like ummis.
Yeah.
Acha. So.
They're all giants.
Astaghfirullah. Well,
That's what
hopefully-
ummi would mean.
I know. Hopefully,
Ummi
most
is
of the
actually meaning-
viewers don't know what that means. Go on.
Ummi mean मतलब what is it jahil.
Yeah.
Ummi means to do ishara.
Ishara.
In the mouth, you do ishara.
Uh-huh.
So
Yes, yes. They are all ummis. Not until I give every instruction, no one's gonna move.
Yeah, you're the one who gives the ishara.
They're still ummis.
where am I on there?
Okay, masha. Acha, so my first question. My,
Sare ummi wale ne.
inshallah, bismillah. So we start on the right hand side, my right hand side. Yeah, and then we go around. Okay, so
Bismillah.
one big best sentence. You're not gonna have time to Google Imam
Is
Ghazali
this
or
a
something.
quick fire?
Yeah, it's gonna be quick fire. The first thing, first question is: are parents liable to Allah's punishment? Yeah, if up until the day they die, they don't continue doing tarbiyah of their children.
Yes.
Okay, pass. Next
Okay,
question.
go on.
That was quick.
Yeah, that's great.
Are we all answering the same question?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
The honest answer is I don't know, but I would have thought once a child becomes baligh,
It's his
it's
responsibility
his
or her
responsibility.
responsibility. Right. Okay. Azra,
That's still one line. He was one word.
it's okay. No, one line.
One
no,
line,
one.
right?
One sentence.
one
One
sentence.
I'll extend from what Bilal was saying.
Uh-huh.
Yes, up till baligh, you could have said so 1400 years ago, because the population was mature enough to handle their own affairs by the age they were baligh. Now, in this the time we live in, they consider you baligh when you're 18. So it's pushed that threshold to 18 at least. Until then, even in the homes you hear, "Oh, yaar, aise ye bacha hai. He's only a child. He's 18, but he's still a child." Yeah, and even after they've married and they've got their own kids, the way they behave and the reason why I believe they're still liable is because they're still parents. They still have that influence. If they see their child is not doing a good parenting, because he's now become a parent, hasn't he? Yeah, they still have a responsibility to share that with them and give him direction.
But are they
If they,
liable? So they can do it out of their own kind of
because their
the goodness
responsibility
of
is
their
to control.
heart.
I
Do you think
I
they're
believe
going to
so.
be liable in front of Allah Ta'ala for not providing that guidance after the son or daughter has become a baligh, whether it's 18 or whatever age?
Yeah, they will. That responsibility lies.
That responsibility. Okay, so that was I was counting how many times you breathed. I think it was about 9 times, and that was the longest sentence I ever heard. So
No, I had to clarify my
Elaborate.
stance. That's all. Otherwise, so in the one-liner, yes,
they are
yeah.
Yes.
right. Okay, now we're causing a lot of problems
I think
because
Go for it.
Ijma in this room.
Yeah.
That
Okay, well, let's put it on you.
okay,
We need to ask you the same question.
okay. So
Do you think they're liable or not?
in my research, in one sentence, it depends on how much control the parents have over children. That's the liability.
Say that again one more time.
So it depends on how much control the parents have over the children. For example, if children, here's my next sentence. For
Interesting.
example, if the children are not listening to parents, even if they're living in the home or have moved out the home, how are the parents responsible because they wish to do it? Like, for example, I want to do tarbiyah of my wife. I can't force her. I can just suggest to her. I can try different ways as well. Similarly with the so how can that person who, according to Sharia, has no control over something be punished?
But is he still required to make that suggestion, and it's up to the
Oh,
child
yes.
to not follow?
Oh yes.
That's what.
I think
that's
that's what you're
prob-
saying.
yeah.
Right? So we're all
By
kind of
extension, yes, they're still liable.
Because I heard a Jummah speech earlier on today, and like my eyebrows were like raised. What? So yeah, it was a very tough speech. One particular Maulana Sahab made in Quba Masjid. So, acha.
Was it the first one or second?
No, it's the second one. You don't worry.
Well,
So-
there's actually Quba Masjid, the one in Longside,
Yeah.
or the one in Stockport.
Well, no, the one in 11 June.
Okay, that's two anyway. So we
Okay.
don't know which one you're talking
Yeah.
about.
So yeah. Okay. So because I thought that should be clarified for the coming time, acha, especially if young imams become imams of big mosques, and there's a big responsibility. Gee.
You know what the thing is? We sit back on this as well.
Yeah.
At least on this on this very topic.
Okay.
And there's many books written on this very topic. You get example Juma Bayan on this topic. You get to open different books and then you get to read
Different opinions.
the different opinions.
Yeah.
The
Mm.
majority of them do not say that it is the right thing. And then in particular, out of the parents is the father.
Right.
Out of the children.
Okay.
The mother of
But
the
when you-
father is the father.
We
define-
see in England that
Yeah.
usually the mother has more influence than the father, because the mother can win over with emotion, and the father, and then that's about it.
Yeah.
That's everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, the mother will emotionally win over the children
Yeah.
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
But define liability, because you just said about like it's mostly the father.
Yeah.
But like if the father's saying to the child,
Yeah.
like, it's haram to fornicate, for example,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
and the child is still doing it, is the
Mhm.
father when you say the father is liable,
Yeah.
is he gonna get
Yeah. Look, Quran Pak
punishment
says.
Amrun bil
even
Maruf.
after doing?
Quran Pak says.
suggesting.
Quran Pak says. Surah Tahrim. This is where they all start from. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nara. All of these, those people who know Arabic, all of
Yeah.
these particles that are being used in the Arabic language, they are all for
the
males.
Male.
Ya ayyuhalladhina
The
amanu
father,
qu,
husband.
which
Yeah.
is a masculine word.
Save yourself,
Anfusakum, which is a
Yeah.
masculine word.
Save yourselves and
ठीक
your
है,
families from the
ठीक
fire.
है. Allah Ta'ala didn't say anfusahunna.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It's all masculine words,
Yeah.
which is all indicating that more of the liability will go upon the father. And then you back it up with hadith, which proves that it is hadith from a Targhib or Tarhib. Another hadith on the day of Qiyamah, the wife and the children will speak against the husband and the father.
If he has not taught them what
Yeah.
they were supposed
Yeah.
to be
So
taught, but if
that's
they are not
fine,
willing
but
to learn, because
can
Bilal
I
is
just-
That's what
asking-
I'm trying. That's the
Yeah.
Can I
question
come
I'm
back to
asking.
Bilal's thing as well?
Yeah.
He's liable up to the point of reminding him of his rights, of his limits.
Yeah.
If he transgresses,
Then it's up to.
then it's his responsibility. But the father has a right to stop him, at least mention to him if it's within his capacity. Where,
yeah.
of course, we know where the hadith says the three types of responses you have. You either stop somebody with your hand, your tongue,
Yeah.
or at least dislike it.
Yeah.
For
which
a
is the
father,
weakest iman.
Every father has, Islamically, is given the right to physically stop your own child at least.
Yeah.
We don't want him to go out and stop every child in the street, but at least his own children, he should still have the authority to stop him with his hand, because hadith also describes that if a father sees his children, his wife and his daughter sinning, and he doesn't stop them, and this refers to particularly in terms of immodesty, then that person is called the use.
Yeah.
The use translates to in Urdu would mean baghairat, that he has no honor at all.
But which man
So
would
that- this-
not do that? I
Th-
mean,
this which
generally,
man would
yeah,
not?
Yeah.
So a father up till, this is why I believe, till let's say in the very late ages where he has complete no control, but for as long as he can and he has the authoritative role, he should continue to play the authoritative role regardless of whether his son, his daughter is married, they have their own children or whatever. He still has that influence.
Yeah. From the age of 16, we lose the influence in the UK. So I'm talking about UK context here.
Yep.
Yeah. So after the age
I
of
think
16,
that's a very good point
Yeah.
mentioned by Doc here, because different countries, the threshold of in them being an adult is different.
Yes,
Every
UK is
coun-
almost 18.
Is 18.
Yeah.
You go Germany or other
Yeah.
European countries, that's 13, 14 as well. New Zealand is 13. So every country is different.
right. Okay.
But
Yeah,
where
so I
okay,
think
Sharia is not limited to New Zealand or
just to
any
make the
country.
viewers
Yeah.
clear.
But we have to put it into context. Sharia, if you had an Islamic Empire, alhamdulillah, yeah, but we don't. So we have to make it a little real for the viewers. We don't
Clear
want the
as well.
viewers
This
to-
is why I
That
said
we're
for
talking
as
about
long
UK
as
here.
he has
Yeah.
authority
yeah.
and plays that role,
Yeah.
he should continue to play his role.
Okay, mashallah. Next question. Next
Go for
question.
Ji, second
The next
question.
That was a nice spice.
is yeah, the next question more like philosophical, because I thought that was very practical. Let's do the total opposite now. The total opposite is this. You know, for non-Muslims, because they are not attached to, they don't have iman, they're not attached to the deen, they become depressed and feel down, etc.
Mhm.
For Muslims, on the other hand, they have the similar type of feeling when they are attached to the deen, but then when they go into the dunya, yeah, they don't like it. So I've met a lot of religious practicing Muslims who they don't like the dunya. They want to get away from it as quick as possible, back from the office quick as possible. Yeah, any you know things that breaks down in the house. Oh my God, that's too much. I want to get more spiritual. Yeah. So I'm talking about, you might call it spiritual philosophy, but what I'm talking about is how we view our surroundings.
Ji.
For a Muslim, the question is, for a Muslim, now explained regarding non-Muslims and Muslims, for a Muslim, how do you maintain that spiritual happiness even in surroundings which are very dull, even surroundings which are very depressing, even amongst people who are very so off-putting or boring? How do you maintain that?
Spiritual high, you mean?
Yeah, a spiritual high. Okay, I'll give you. I'll make
What
it
you're trying to say
even
with
more
the- yeah.
concrete, clear. We are in this room now.
Yeah.
It's not the most beautiful room in the world. Yeah,
Sure.
there are pillars. There are pillars. I was going to actually put an undernote that no offense to people who dwell here, but the thing is that
It's a basement, come on.
yeah, but still, it's not like the most beautiful room. If you go upstairs, alhamdulillah, there's a beautiful room up there. Yeah.
Keep on repeating that.
Okay, so
He's given some credit by saying upstairs is nice at least.
No, no,
just still though, it's not the most
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. So let me continue. It's not the most beautiful room, but
Asian invasion.
how do you imagine if you had to work here? Like, let's just say you were spending 9 to 5 Monday to Friday time here.
Go first.
You're starting on the right side. How would you make it okay?
I gave this example yesterday. I played Hassan was in.
Okay.
Simple answer is Jewish.
Okay.
Yeah, this is for the Muslims. Specifically
Yeah, Muslims, yeah.
The example I gave was that in your car, this is a practical solution now. In your car, whenever you sit in your car, keep a tasbih in your car. For example, on the indicator, there's a tasbih there. Whenever you sit in the car, you start reading.
Yeah. So when you go out, you take your keys, your mobile phone. The third thing you have to take is the tasbih. Yeah.
Why do you need
okay.
a tasbih to read?
To remind you? Yeah.
To remind you,
Yeah.
you know those spinners that they have, the spinner. Bible did that just to keep you going. It's
Yeah.
the same way if you have a tasbih, you can just keep reading and it keeps you going.
Yeah. Fine. Bilasa.
So your question is, how do you maintain that spiritual high?
Yeah.
I think what the point you're trying to make is, you feel certain people feel spiritually high when they're at home, they're praying, worshipping, that kind of stuff. And when they go into the office, for example, they just want to take an
Yeah.
example.
We want to be
you're
mafle zikr all the time,
Yeah.
and we want to be daras
Well,
all the time.
I think, why would you think only staying at home is the only way to gain that closeness to Allah and that spiritual height? Like, if you have the right intention before starting every single thing, whether it's your job, whether it's whatever else, halal obviously, that becomes a type of worship for you. So then you are maintaining that kind of spirituality, regardless of if you're working, that's still you're worshipping.
There's a problem to that.
Why?
The problem is, okay, you make the right intention.
Yeah.
Because I've experienced it, that's what I'm saying.
Sure.
Okay? You make the right intention,
Yeah.
but a few hours down the line, you forget you made the intention.
So you remake the intention.
You forget, and then what happens is then you indulge in other things.
Man is forever forgetful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
you
Okay.
get-
Azad, go.
How do you maintain a spiritual state in a non-spiritual environment? Yeah,
In a dull environment, depressing environment, with depressing people.
I think it takes quite some practice.
Yeah.
You can't wake up one evening and you know what, from now on I'm going to try to maintain myself spiritually high. It's not going to happen. You got to take baby steps. Now if you consider those aspiring noble men who then later on in their lives become awliya Allah, or when, let's suppose, a person who just taken bay'ah, he's a fresh murid and he's taken the path of spirituality, Pir Sahib doesn't throw him a mountain of wazaif to do. He gives him one little bit to do after each salah. Once he's done those and he's doing them regularly and he's finding them, he can pull them off easily. He goes back to a sheikh and the sheikh will then increase his wazifa and say, look, okay, multiply that by so much more and add this and this. He does that for several weeks and he's fluent and easy in them. He goes back to sheikh after a few months. Sheikh, I've done those, give me something more. So sheikh then gives him a higher dose. He takes a higher dose and he keeps going. Over time you'll see that regardless of where he goes, now because he's able to maintain that practice, whether he's, now normally what happens is the test for the awliya Allah, which as mentioned in books, is when they travel. I can maintain my spiritual state at home because my regular routine, I've got my bed, I've got my favorite foods, my bathroom, water, everything's available. My system and my day-to-day running is not disturbed, so I can maintain my wazaif and everything nice and easy. As soon as I travel, I'm on board on a flight, I've not got the food, I've not got my rest, I'm traveling, everything's disturbed. Am I able to maintain that routine spirituality or not? So when the spiritual masters, when they travel, the reason they're masters is because they've done it for such an extensive time. Even when they've been moved into a completely opposite environment, they're able to maintain that spirituality because it's become norm for them. You see what I'm trying to say?
Says something.
So it's a gradual build until it becomes part of your in and out nature, day in, day out service, you could call it, practice. So regardless of which environment you put him into, regardless of how toxic that environment may be, he can maintain his spirituality, and that's what the awliya Allah preserve.
You know, the viewers are texting in that there's interference.
Audio?
Yeah, is it audio? Yeah, audio. Yeah.
Okay, we'll have a look. Carry on going.
Okay.
So can I just?
So everybody get my point, yeah?
Yeah,
So that's all I had to
that.
share.
But you know,
Okay.
one thing I'd just like to say on this, essentially what he's saying is that mastery takes practice, and that's been proven through actual research.
Yeah.
That to become a master at something, at minimum, they've done a study. They find that you need to spend at least 10,000 hours practicing a skill before you can become a master. So it's all about repetition.
Right.
And you know, using a worldly example of someone a lot of people knew, Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
He said, "I'm not scared of the person who can punch 1,000 times once, and I'm scared of the person that punches once on 1,000 days, practices one punch, but on 1,000 consecutive days, essentially." So, meaning that consistency is a lot more powerful than just having spiritual highs and spiritual lows and then spiritual highs.
Yeah.
That if you want to
Istiqamah, like you want sustainability on a certain action, or you want to leave a certain action, then
you should do it for 40 days.
Yeah.
40 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how you will
get the sustainability on a action. But in regards to maintaining spirituality, what happens there is saying the issue with that is
That's only one example of a peer murid relationship. I'm
yeah,
giving.
yeah.
That example is from 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, I mean today we've got like you mentioned Bruce Lee, we got Habib at the moment, he like practically, we got Ronaldo, am I supposed to mention Manchester United. So Ronaldo,
he's back.
He's back, and one of the things he
That's
said
why Bilal's got the red top.
he would just continue, like practicing when everybody else goes home.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's it. Absolutely. Yeah. You want you to finish off something?
no. That's
okay. Shall I give my little take on this?
Go on, let's see.
Someone said that if you can ask the question but direct, clear question. Someone just messaged me. Someone just messaged
So
me.
the way you want one-liner answers, we need one-liner questions as well, yeah?
One-liner questions.
Yeah.
Right, okay,
Not
that's
paragraph
fine.
questions.
Oh, that's absolutely bad to explain that last one.
Okay.
The first one was
So do give a
one-liner.
paragraph,
Okay.
but then in the one sentence, this is it.
Right, just send me that person's number. I'll talk to him after. Anyway, no, sorry.
You know
So
him.
we sort him out.
I know. We're all friends.
Sort
Acha,
him out.
so my thing is the way you look at things visually with the eye.
Yeah,
So-
perception.
So perception,
Yeah, perception.
not pre.
Perception.
Okay, so basically in this room, I can make it look beautiful and not dull. Human beings, I can perceive that they're beautiful and not dull by the way that I look, like these eyes. And so me and
Khalid, why are you going down the route of mantiq for?
no. The reason is because you're giving religious,
It's
spiritual,
a
other
mindset. I
answers.
think that's what he's saying.
Eh?
It's a mindset.
It's a mindset, but you have
Because-
to explain it.
Because
I
when you
know-
go down the route of mantiq, right, they stop saying, is this ilm laduni? Does everything exist? If it exists, does it exist or not?
Yeah,
You
we're not
get-
going that far. That's,
but you're going down that route. That's what I'm saying.
no, I'm not. That's further up. That's way up. We're not going down up there. So basically, we're just doing our normal logic, common sense, intelligence. So so when
you're
I
saying
look around,
perception, basically.
yeah, perception. So
To-
let's try. So everybody who's at home
Yeah.
and everybody who's in the studio now, yeah, try to do that. Like when you look around, like maybe look at the walls and you look at them like something like how you would, let's just say you come out of your house and you look down the street and you see things are parallel, like for example all the lampposts. You know, do you see the beauty? You may not have noticed it before, but then you see the beauty of the lamppost, so converging into a point in the distance, yeah? Or we call something called the eye of nature, where say you go and you never noticed a tree in the park before, but then you look at it.
You remind me of something. It's a phrase, as you're asking for one-liners.
Go on.
They say that beauty is in the eye
Of
of
the
the beholder.
beholder.
Yeah.
Right, okay, that
That's
can be taken in different ways, but absolutely true. Yeah, that's what we think. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So my answer to that equals what? If the person themselves are beautiful, like in their mind,
Then everything around you would naturally
everything
become
else is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just that we don't beautify ourselves inside. We start beautifying our bodies with clothes and our furniture and our cars, and going around with people who are dressed well and
Mention
stuff
of
like
cars, you know, when you're getting late, everything seems so slow, doesn't it? When you're in the car. And commonly, when somebody he horns at you, it's because he's the one that's in a hurry and he's blaming you for being wrong on the road.
Yeah.
That happens, doesn't it? Now, two people, same road. His perception is, I'm going too slow. My perception is, he's going too fast. Yeah?
Yeah.
But
you know, in regards to time, I was reading somewhere that there's 3 types of feelings for time. One is when you see time just flies, meaning your lunch break and it's gone. Okay, that's one feeling. The other feeling is where it never ends, meaning you're in the exam or you're very bored and you're thinking like, time's not ending.
Yeah.
That's another feeling. And the third feeling is you're not bored and it's not too fast. You're relaxed
Yeah.
and you're enjoying the moment.
Enjoying the moment of staying calm.
So
Yeah.
the 3 is the perception of time for yourself.
How often have you had a moment where you're enjoying the moment and it's not going too fast? I think that's a very difficult.
Oh yeah, I
balance
had
to
one
achieve.
2 days ago.
That is very rare.
Yeah, it's
very
very rare.
Because that's proven from hadith as well,
Acha.
that the human in this world, majority of the time, he finds it difficult.
Yeah.
Moments of enjoyment are very rare. For example, you've been married, mashallah, okay, for how many years now?
6.
6,
probably.
right? So that
Almost-
moment of
almost
marriage, that happiness, do you get it again? Unless you get married again, like some people in this room, right?
His wife is listening to this. What are you
Right.
talking about?
Right. So I'm just giving an example.
You know,
here.
it's
This
funny
this
'cause my
Maulana Sahib's
wife-
going to do the nikah by the end of tonight.
My wife was saying,
Subhanallah.
you need to stay away from people that talk to you about multiple marriages. So.
okay.
But one the example I'm giving, the moment enjoyment. For example, you finish your degree, and you get that degree, right? That happiness at that moment in time, you pass your exam. Okay?
Yeah, it's a high. You get over
that
it.
high enjoyment.
Yeah.
It's very rare compared to the trials and tribulations that we go through, the tensions that we have. If you compare the two,
Yeah.
moments of happiness are less.
But here's something. You know that moment of happiness when, you know, usually around our end in where I come from in the Punjab, they say, oh, ladke shaadi ke baad mote ho jate hain, khushi ke saath. In other words, all the guys are thin, but as soon as they get married, they get fat out of happiness. Yeah. Okay, maybe it's loads of dawats as well, but still, the thing is that if you remember those,
feeling too much now.
if you remember that time, and then a time later when you are married to your wife, many years later, and let's just say your wife, and nothing against women, it can happen the other way around as well, but say your wife is really sort of giving you the tongue, you know, the wagging it, and you know the lip service, and you name it. Now the thing is that with this,
whether it's lip service or silent service, both are killers.
Oh, but both kills, yeah, both cut the air.
Silence
is worse, isn't it? You
worse.
actually want them to speak sometimes, because you're used to women speaking. I mean, if women never spoke, how could we start speaking? Because, you know, they talk too much to children, and then children learn to speak.
You know, men are very bad at having conversations.
Is that muhavara?
With their spouse at least.
Well, with anyone, like if you notice, women are really skilled in finding ways to extend conversation.
You know why?
Oh yeah.
Because they don't hold back.
Expressing their feelings.
I mean, many times men at least will keep or hold back on things out of pride and honor. With women, that's not one of their main priorities.
Yeah.
They'd rather share that information
We have authority, respect.
out of casualness.
Yeah.
Men wouldn't do that.
But don't you think men are also like, most of them seem to be straight to the point? Like, just tell me what happened. Like, I don't want to know. I went from A to B to C. What was the from the, like, you know, what was the end?
Yeah. Okay. We all talk from a bit of experience here.
It seems like, you know, women tend to be more descriptive about the journey to
especially, you know, when your wives are listening, it's great to talk on the studio like this. It's like
you're indirectly bashing them.
Yeah, because they won't listen at home, so
they
have to listen on the podcast. They got no choice, you know.
That's probably the Mauli's doing it when they get on the mic, on the mimbar.
Absolutely.
They're bashing the women.
Going back to the point about spirituality, I don't think you can maintain a high. I don't think it's possible.
You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to.
I think having a low
Yeah.
actually makes you realize when you're having a high.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? So without the lows, you wouldn't actually know you were having a high.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, when
you're not meant to. Otherwise, because like we know from the hadith that the Prophet ﷺ, had you continued to recite Quran in the same manner all night, by the morning you would have seen angels.
Yeah, absolutely.
Physically seen angels.
Yeah.
We're not physically, mentally, spiritually ready to maintain that 24/7 high.
Yeah.
Okay. And what Hafsa was saying before, that, you know,
is a hadith in it
when
that
you have
Ghaliban Amir Hamza radiyallahu ta'ala an, he saw Jibreel once on the Kaaba for a split second. This is in Imam Suti's written it. Just for a split second, he saw Jibreel and he fainted. Meaning what you're saying, we're not ready to see that level.
Yeah.
Okay.
The angel of death we have no choice with, but
Right.
cello.
So but even then,
so what's your question?
The only way to maintain or to keep it for a longer lasting would be the same method. Build on it casually, slowly, until you're able to maintain it for longer times.
Yeah. I tell you a question.
Okay, so what I was going to say, the answer, my bit of input into this is it happens that when you get married, like, you're very happy, but then afterwards you think it's all sort of going down, or it's not as happy as the original honeymoon, etc. But one day when your wife is really sort of nagging at you, and if you stay calm, as we talk about stay calm, you actually get a more higher sense of spirituality than your honeymoon. Try it sometime. Yeah, there's another, because now you're under a test. Then you were just like having a good time, it was quite easy, but now you're actually under a test. Now it's like if you buy actually this is going on to my next
in fact, that reminds me, he was mentioning we were you know Bukhari Dars, so because we're studying the
Musalla one.
Yeah, the Musalla one.
All right, go on.
So there was this Buzurg, and he would he had to cross the river every day.
No. He would read namaz.
No. He had to cross the river on a daily basis, and the way he would do it was he would sit on his mat.
Oh, and the mat would
take him across,
like
and he would come on and tell his wife, "Do you know how I come across?" One day he came, and she didn't believe in his wilaya.
Yeah.
And you gave him lots of lip service all the time.
Yeah.
So he went home to try and convince that, you know what, let's try to shut her down by telling her this is the stuff I do in my.
Shut her down.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he tells this is what happens, and she goes, "Acha, well, try it tomorrow."
Okay.
He
Oh,
goes,
no, I
"Come
know
on, I've
where
been
this
doing it
is
every day,
going."
man. I do this
Right.
every day. That's not a problem. Fine."
Yeah.
Does the next day, he pulls out his mat, and he's going to sit on it, and as he thought that it would take off, he drowned. He
Sank.
came home wet. Said, "What happened?" It didn't fly. It take me across, and he goes, "What happened?" And she goes, "Well, I told you would have been able to do it." And he's like, "What? How do you know? Like, what's going on?" He goes, "Well, because every day when I cook the food, I
She
make
goes.
sure She goes, whenever I make the food, I make sure I'm in wudu, and I pray durud pak when I'm making the food, and that's the reason for you being able to do that. So yesterday when you put me to the test and you tried to impress me, I told your daughter, today you're gonna make the food. So she made the food in whatever way she did it. Probably didn't make wudu, probably didn't read the durud pak, and that's why you were not able to do that."
Right, you know what? I got two killer stories in response to that. Actually,
Yeah.
one.
Is
So-
that story that about one waliullah, he was flying left, right? So
Yeah.
I think Imam Tirmidhi mentioned this.
Yeah.
Right, and his wife was watching, right, and he comes down and he goes.
This is basically the Avengers, yeah?
Yeah.
They're all
Yeah,
flying.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
he
We
comes
are
down-
the real
he
ones.
comes down and he asks his wife, "Do you know who that was?" And she goes, "Wow, but then he got a waliullah."
Amazing, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah,
He
it was
goes,
me.
And she goes,
that why he
"Acha,
was-
ta hi dinga chalan rahe the."
Yeah, that's why he's
That's why
flying.
you're flying bent.
bend,
Okay,
yeah.
two quick ones. One, if you go to Tahrim and Hadramaut in Yemen today, as soon as you enter Tahrim, there's a grave there of a saint. And this story about that saint, this saint, his wife used to give him a lot of lip, and he one day got fed up and he said, "I'm leaving," and he went, yeah, and he went on a mountain, and there was these two other fakirs there, poor people, and they say, he said, "What are you doing here?" They go, "We just live with the provision that Allah gives us. We make dua to Allah, each of us that make a dua to Allah, and he sends us provision from the heavens." So he go, "Okay, I need to stick around with you." So the first one, he makes dua on the first night, provision comes down. Second one, yeah, then they said to him, "Your turn." He goes, "Oh, I'm a sinner." He goes, "No, you should do it as well, your turn." And he did it, and they had a massive feast. They go, "Wow, we should do this again." Next night he did it again, massive feast. Next thing, then massive feast. And he couldn't understand it. He couldn't understand how to get. So
I mean, he wasn't aware of his powers, eh?
yeah, he was, but then listen how he got his powers.
Okay.
Yeah? Subhanallah. So basically, he wanted to tell this to his wife. They respect me because this wife. He goes down and he knocks on the door. She opens the door and she starts. "Where have you been? It's been a week. Yeah, where have you been?" He goes, "I gotta tell you something. Basically, I met these fakirs and they made dua and less came down. I made dua every time I made the laws came down." She slapped him. She said, "I could have told you that." She said, "I could have told you that." She said to him, "It's because you have to put up with me that you got that." Yeah. So she shut the door and he had to sleep on the doorstep outside all night.
That's not always, come on, that we,
Khalid, I think
there's a few specific
yeah.
examples, yeah? But
Oh,
all
the audience might
look-
take this as,
Yeah,
You know-
the
you know,
women.
we-
think-
the women were like, "You know what? We should treat our..."
yeah, treat our husbands to paradise. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
So,
in that manner.
Are you giving
Sleep
mashwara
outside.
to the females
no.
that
You know,
give
the thing
lip
is that
service to
there's
your
always
husband?
men on here, and I have said in the past
Look,
we
come
should
on, the
have
Hadith
women
Pak
coming on.
says when a woman
Yeah.
is giving that lip service or becoming a burden, the whores in paradise are like, "Oh yeah, leave him alone."
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
ours. He's coming.
he's
to us
ours. He's
soon.
coming to us. Yeah,
Yeah.
let him be. Give him an easy time.
I was just trying to balance it up, you see, because some of the women, when I go back, not just in my family, a few others as well, they say, so,
I see
so,
this
so,
now, I
so
see
I'm
what
just
this is
trying to, have a good meal tonight.
Tonight,
later,
yeah.
and everything.
He's
So,
trying to earn
yeah,
his meal tonight.
yeah, okay. So because you
Otherwise it's a
mentioned the
doorstep.
masala,
Don't
because
blame
you
him.
mentioned masala and you mentioned a beer, I gotta say one thing there as well. There was this Maridi came from long distance to visit his beer sahib after a long time. He knocked on the door, and the wife opened the door and come to see beer sahib. "Oh, that so and so idiot, silly person. Go near the river. He's there." And he goes there and he sees the beer sahib praying on the water with the mat floating, the prayer mat floating. Anyway, he then after many years he comes back. He comes back and he knocks on the door, and there's another woman who opens the door and says, "Come to see Bisab." She's a very nice, humble woman, and she said, "Yes, he's near the water." And he goes there and he sees that he's praying on the land next to the sea and on his prayer mat. And he said, Hazrat, I've just got a question. Like before you were praying on the water, now he
What's
goes,
happened?
you know,
What's
the
changed?
first one I got fed up with her, so I divorced her, and I got this one because of the first one. I had the karamat. Yeah. So you know, everything that seems to be not good is good. Even like this perception
Coming back
that we're
to perception,
talking.
yeah.
Ajay, my next question.
But just to clarify,
go
not all awliya Allah have a hard time at home.
Mm.
Yeah, like we always say, behind every man there's a successful.
Can all awliya Allah do kiramat?
All awliya Allah,
No,
their biggest karamat is that they act upon the Sharia.
they don't have to
Yeah.
do a karamat.
So
Yeah,
to
yeah,
do
yeah, yeah, yeah.
superficial.
They don't have to.
This is the reason I'm asking is because
So these
it's almost
stories
expected.
about the carpets flying and all this.
Yeah, that's just
These
again,
are
you should
very
clarify this.
These are very very rare cases,
yeah,
Yeah.
and these are private cases. These are
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
public.
Sometimes you read in
scenarios.
books as if they're doing it day and night. No, that's over like 50 years.
Because if you read,
Yeah.
read the lives of Sahaba Kiram, barely anything is mentioned of such.
Mm.
Yeah, but when you read this, awliya Allah is like they weren't doing these things for jokes.
Mm.
As if they had some training camp where they learn all this craft, they come in and do it.
Yeah, you know, it's not.
And the Sahaba Kiram didn't have that training camp,
Yeah.
where in fact they were the better of the nations, yeah,
Mm.
of our ummah, the best of our ummah. But they never did stuff like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
And if they did, they kept it so underground, nobody was ever aware of it.
It's like a side effect of the following of the Sharia. They don't consider it to be like their goal or aim or anything.
Yeah,
like
that's not their goal.
And I think linked to that, it's important to say what we were discussing earlier. That spirit, that high feeling. I don't think you should aim for it. Why should you? Then you're almost like doing it just to get some sort of feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
like-
So we're not
yeah,
worshipping
of
the
course,
feeling.
of
I think
course,
we
of
once in
course.
Ramzan we discussed that we're not worshipping the feeling or the spiritual high. But I personally think in the day and age that we're living in, you need a certain level of spiritual happiness in order to even
Continue.
sincerely do ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, follow the Sharia. Because we seen people who get so astaghfar, like bored of the nawafil that they used to do, even the tahajjud that they used to do. So even at the tahajjud time, they're on the mobile phone looking at websites they're not supposed to look at. How did that? They just read the tahajjud. But these are like real life cases that do go on. Okay, my next question. I don't know how much time we have.
After all that detail, I'm enjoying myself. Let's keep going.
This is a good,
Okay,
good session.
Okay, next question.
But that being said, you are not. Spirituality for the sake of spirituality is wrong.
Yeah, that's the point.
In fact, there are many quotations.
Say that again.
You can never gain spirituality
Yeah,
if you're
that's
doing
what you're
it
trying
to
to
achieve
gain. Exactly.
spirituality. Your
Isn't it-
ultimate goal is Allah alone.
Isn't it similar for a leader? Like, isn't it? There's
Yeah,
an
anybody
example
wants
that
to be a
someone
leader.
came to the Prophet
Yeah.
Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, putting his name forward as like for a leadership position, and tell me if I'm wrong here, because
Yeah, there are many hadiths on this subject that never ask for leadership.
because if you do, you don't actually deserve it.
Do not
Some-
ask
some-
for leadership
Yeah,
because it can become an adab for you.
yeah.
You'll be stuck here and you'll be stuck in the hereafter as well.
Right, your question.
Okay,
Gee,
shall
move
we go
on.
on to the next one?
Yeah.
Move
Right,
on.
okay, the next one. Right,
This is
'cause
question number 3, by the way.
question number 3,
Is
and I'm trying to make it really like different and pick on your brains today. Okay, but the underlying message is
Gee.
brilliant advice. Like alhamdulillah, may Allah bless you all the way that you've been giving so far to the views. So the next question is, and a lot of people are going to laugh at this because
You're laughing yourself already.
because I've been discussing this over the last few weeks with a number of people. So whoever's listening, they're saying, "Oh my God." Anyway, relatives and friends. Okay, so shall I lease a car, Bilal? Shall I?
From last week.
Oh,
Shall-
Oh my God.
or shall
Let's
I?
not discuss personal affairs
No,
on
no,
a live
no,
on a
listen,
public
listen,
platform,
no,
please.
I just want to tell the viewers, this way talk about that. We were
I
there
thought
till-
I'd get
we-
some-
We were there till 5 a.m. in the morning, right?
We've had
One
this-
of the topics was that took like I think 2 hours.
Okay.
Leasing a car.
Why?
Yeah, because listen to this, Khasi, and may Allah bless him, Hafiz of Fahim, Rahat as well. They've gone to Egypt
Yes.
now. We make dua for their success. And he gave some brilliant answers to this as well. And then me and Bilal discussed it afterwards. Today, there was a brother Umar. We went out to University Kuba, and we were discussing also with my family and friends. The reason is there's an underlying thing here. Okay, if I get a car on lease, I'm going to be paying much more. Yeah, and if I buy a second-hand car, then I'm going to be paying less. With a second-hand car, it could break down and I might get a headache, and my time in my life will be taken up by going to the garage, you know, getting parts and this and that. With a lease car, you don't need to worry about stuff like that. Okay,
Generally speaking.
Because it's brand new.
Yeah, because it's brand new and all that. Now,
That is
the
true.
question is, and it's like a big question, because the Prophet said that all sins extend from the dunya. Yeah, from the dunya. Yeah, dunya. When a lot of the times, and I'm gonna pick on a lot of time when they say dunya, people think about money, people think about property, people think about material stuff. Material stuff equals dunya. So just picking on that point. So the question is, should I take a car on lease as a Muslim? That's the house. As a Muslim, should I, as a practicing Muslim, shall I take a car out on lease, or shall I buy a second-hand one? How's that?
I think the example you gave last week was.
Don't pick on me. Do give your own example.
The example that you were talking about
Yeah.
was, I think, was a contract, a phone contract, that if I buy a phone,
Yeah.
okay, it could cost me £1,000. For
Yeah.
example, the new phones are £1,000.
Yeah.
However, if I was to take out a contract, which could be £50 a month, but I know that the £50 contract will be a brand new phone with SIM and a internet, whatever.
Everything.
But if I buy a £1,000 phone, you don't know, will it be working? Will it not be working?
Break down,
It might
yeah.
break down. Okay, you don't even have the insurance over it as well.
Yeah.
But with the contract, you do.
Yeah.
Okay, what do normal people do? Majority of the case,
Normal people. Yeah.
they go down
Yeah.
the contract route. Right
Okay.
now,
I'm
people,
abnormal.
okay, right.
Could you afford a car?
Right. But what I'm trying to say,
Hold on.
people don't know. Some people, I read this in my contract that I might be wrong, but what I read on my contract is that there's interest on our contract as well.
There's interest
Okay.
on
Okay.
contract.
Okay. Now he
Now
always.
he's getting there.
Yeah, he gets to another point. Okay, but answer my question
Okay,
first of all.
you know
Yeah.
the phone contracts. Okay,
Yeah.
on the one that we buy,
Yeah.
there's interest is written like غالباً 0.3%, whatever interest.
APR, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there is.
On a
So
phone contract. So essentially, you're paying more if you're paying up through monthly. So it's a bit like insurance.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So the
That's how
problem.
everything works over installments that
Yeah.
make you do that.
Okay. So the problem where it leads to is, what should we do?
Insurance or riba
Okay.
or
No,
interest.
No.
Are we going
Okay.
to go down the...
I don't think he's
do you
talking about
want
insurance.
practical advice or do you want Sharia fiqh advice?
Because on lease.
No, because
I want religious advice.
it's linked with both. It's both linked.
But
okay?
on lease, there's no interest involved.
Mhm.
You're just leasing a car.
Yeah, it's not exactly riba as in a riba. Right, okay, but you're not answering my question.
Okay.
Yeah, as a Muslim,
Yeah.
the point, as a Muslim who's practicing and wants to grow towards...
I gave you my answer
daylight-
last week, so I'll
Yeah.
repeat it
Go
again.
on then.
The latter one, where I'll just pay £5,000 and get a car.
Okay.
Well, that's why I asked the
Okay.
question.
In
Do
other
you
words, a
have
second-hand car
Yes,
Would you-
I'll just go for
Okay.
that for practical reasons as well,
for practical reasons.
which I explained last
Right,
week.
when tires burst. Anyway,
Okay.
so his tire burst twice, you know, when I was, stuff. Go on.
Sheikh
Bilal.
Asras is bursting his tires.
Is he?
What's
Oh,
this
okay.
tire bursting stuff that's
He's
happening?
Israr.
Absolutely.
Is this a sign
The
that
secret.
you're
You don't want to know.
you're a
You don't want to
mulana?
Acha, Bilal Sahab,
If your tires are bursting.
what would you do?
So you're saying
Lease
you've got an
or-
option to lease
Or second-hand?
or second hand.
And give me
How
a
long is
religious
a,
answer.
how long is a lease?
That's up to you. I mean, you
Mm.
can have 3 years, 5 years,
No, but the question, the reason I was asking the earlier question
working
was
out the finances.
like,
Yeah.
like if you can't genuinely afford, like,
Let's say
If-
it's a continuous
so
lease.
no, I'm talking about owning the car. So imagine if you to buy that £5,000 car as you mentioned,
Yeah.
you need to take a loan from someone.
Yeah,
You're taking on debt.
yeah,
With a lease, you have maybe you can go with even a year contract, right?
Yeah.
And that might not, it might add up to £1,000. And
But what if you
£1,000
die?
you might, but you might have it in your bank account. Do you
Yeah,
understand?
yeah,
You
okay,
can't buy
that's
a car
yeah.
with £1,000,
Okay.
but you could get a 1 year lease with £1,000. And
Okay.
so, aren't you more covered with the finances you have if you get a 1 year lease in that situation?
Sounds like a financial advisor. Okay, fair enough. I understand you giving financial advice in there. Okay, Hafsa, what would you say?
Actually, this question has to be tailored for the general public or just to you?
No, for the general public. What's it got to do with me? I got my answer already. But you can't sit on the wall. You have to give, which, yeah.
I reckon.
I just got him off his wall. I think he's trying to.
Yeah, he just got. Yeah, he's
Yeah, he's trying to
unstuck himself
get
off
out
the
of it.
wall.
Literally,
Okay.
because I'm getting up now.
Yeah. He's getting ready.
If it was just you, I would say go for a lease, because the headache that you would have to go through, and it would hinder your other religious activities.
Now you're talking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you would have lost so much time in garage and running around maintaining the car.
Yeah.
That it's more worthwhile for you to buy something that would release less let's say possibility of it breaking down or such. Somebody from the corporate world like Bilal
Yeah.
will give you the same answer,
Yeah.
because for them, for somebody in the corporate world, value is based on time.
Yeah.
Yeah, time is the most valuable asset you have.
Absolutely.
Would you rather spend that time running around the garages,
Yeah.
or would you have a running, functioning car with no headache, turn it on ignition every day, it'll take you to work and back, you're going to leave at, let's say, 8:45, you're going to be outside your work at 8:58, you'll be in the building at 9, your work starts.
Yeah.
So in the corporate world, that's literally they work to the minute. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They can't afford a breakdown like this. Somebody in the spiritual world, or who's doing khidmat of the deen, similarly has such a if he's that well maintained.
Yeah.
I'll give you the example of my father.
You
He
can't
does not-
afford a breakdown either.
He can't
Absolutely.
afford a breakdown of,
Yeah.
of even a pen,
Absolutely.
because his pen is his survival.
Yeah.
He's writing 24/7, even when I've given you examples, haven't I? So when
Yeah.
he used to take us to the doctors, and we had to sit in the reception, people are all having a laugh or whatever, and he's there writing. Yeah, if he sat in the car waiting for, let's say, my sister to come out from high school because they're a bit late, he's there writing. He's not going to waste a minute. Yeah, so he can't afford to have a pen that will slow him down. He has
Yeah.
to one that's of the best, that'll keep him going, no break
Fast
whatsoever.
one, the fast one as well.
Yeah,
You know,
He-
this
similarly for somebody for somebody religiously, if you know you have so much religious activity that it's going to slow you down, you're going to end up spending time whatever there where your output Islamically would have been spent better, then of course lease. But the perception again, these hurdles are also part of your spirituality. Maybe the output to the public may not have been seen the same because Imam Sah was at the garage for many hours. But in reality, this hurdle is also a test, isn't it?
It is.
It is. And every test, like the hadith says, it either brings you closer to Allah or it turns you away.
So why put ourselves into tests when we already have so many tests?
No, so if you can afford
Yeah.
to take on this other one,
Yeah.
then of course through specialist advice, you buy a good functioning running car, you know that's not going to break down anytime soon at least. Tire bursting, like Hafiz Umair's constant tire burst that he has, yeah,
Okay.
that can happen at any time. People that do many motorway miles, they know it's going to happen anytime.
Yeah.
But you
So
know
that could happen even to a brand new leased car as well.
Exactly what
It can happen to a 10-year-old banger as well.
Yeah, and you still have to wait for the breakdown service.
There you
Could
go.
be 2
You
hours or
know,
whatever.
That's very true, because when I got like a newer car,
17 plate. Okay.
Don't worry, it's a religious
you know
car.
this
Many
stuff?
times we sat in his
So
car
anyway,
and we discussed
point being is,
religious.
as soon as I got that car,
Yeah.
I literally the next day or something, my tire punctured. Right, and the tire's obviously expensive.
That's normal wear
So the
and tear
point
that's
I'm
going to
being
happen.
is, even on a new car, you can have that. So if it's just the tire bursting that you're trying to avoid,
You
probably
can't
not gonna
avoid
work.
that.
But it's
But
less
at least
headache.
major fails like engine fail or
That's-
AC not working or
Yeah.
That's more. Yeah, that's the point I was going to come to. It's about how much time do you really want to spend looking after your car, right?
Yeah.
And like on a brand new car, it's going to
Yeah.
be a lot less. I'll give you the example. It's called opportunity cost. What that means is, a time you're spending doing something. What is a better thing that you're missing out on
Yeah.
because you've decided to, work on that. So I'll give you an example.
Is it
When-
basically work smart, don't
yeah,
work
it's
hard?
about productivity and efficiency.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. When they were trying to go to space, there's no gravity in space,
Yeah.
so they needed a pen that could work even without gravity, because you know, our pens work because of gravity, right?
Yep.
There's ink in there. And so the US, they went on this rampant kind of journey of creating a pen that was anti-gravity, right? And the Russians, they just use a pencil. So it's about being smart, as you're saying. It's about opportunity cost. Like, is it really worth you going down that route? That's the point.
Yeah. Okay. Here's my.
So, Khalid, by pen or pencil?
At least.
That's the question, isn't it?
So my final thing on this is it.
Kachi pencil.
If we are people, like as I said rightly, if we are people who are truly going to spend that much time in the deen, and you have to be really honest with yourselves, then you can't afford a breakdown. And money, while asr, in other words, we're talking about time here, and look, hubbe dunya, love of the dunya. Love the dunya is taken out the more that you spend, the more that you keep. I mean, what are you keeping it for? If you carry on saving, I mean, this is a really crazy thing. I mean, I know people in my life who just love to save, and their bank balance is just building up, and you think like what's
It gives them comfort of the mind.
It gives them comfort, like something might happen or something. But then, seriously speaking, on the opposite side, if you think about lease, it's the same kind of comfort, isn't it? That, you know, we're not going to get that much headache, so we might as well spend. So then, why not spend? Why not spend on, for example, one of the things that I learnt of some elders, what they used to do, they used to say that with money is there for spending. Money equals spending. Money does not equal saving. Money equals spending. And they were happy people. What they used to obviously be sensible. So what you would do is you would get a car on lease, definitely. Why? Because if you have that kind of money put aside and it's not doing anything, it defies logic not to get a car on lease. Why? Because you can use that money there, and you can have less headache, and you can spend more time in the deen. If you're going to spend more time in the dunya doing stupid things, then you might as well go and get the headache of a second-hand car that keeps on breaking down. I'm just saying,
keeps you away from the dunya.
It keeps you busy in doing something. So that's what I would say. Spend money. Muslims should learn to spend money and
The
not
hadith
save
teaches
up.
you that as well.
MashaAllah. Bismillah.
Hadith teaches you to spend money. Because the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, money that you've used on food and clothes is actually your money. Money that you leave behind is wasted, it's not even yours. So those that want huge bank balances, they fall ill, they die a week later, that 150k they left in the bank, that's complete waste. He put all that effort in just for it to be wasted, divided between his inheritors, who are never going to make dua for him 5 years down the line. So really, the hadith teaches that true wealth is that which you have either used upon yourself or you have given in the path of Allah yourself. وَمَا تُقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُم مِّن خَيْرٍ, Quran says. That which you have deposited with Allah, min khairin, goodness, it's with Allah.
Absolutely.
The whole point of when you give in charity is you deposit it with Allah, knowing that it will be used for a positive project in this dunya. Is deposited with Allah, and you'll have it banked up ready for the hereafter. That's true wealth. The wealth you leave behind is that wealth will come to haunt you in the akhirah, and it's of no benefit to you as well.
The hadith says that to spend upon family is actually sadaqah.
Absolutely.
It's the best of sadaqah.
It's the best of sadaqah.
Okay. Now those people who want to give sadaqah, for example, they want to donate towards good charitable things, and they don't have the enough sufficient funds, for example, but they want to donate. How do they do that? I heard this in a speech from someone. It's in a very logical way that we can do. Okay. Basically, everyone, whoever can, make a current account out of the wage that you get at the end of the month, whatever you're getting. Keep it 2 or 3% out of that wage. You're going to put it into that current account, but that current account will only be used for sadaqah.
Right.
Do you get it?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Like a savings
There
account.
are
or
other
something.
financial
It's a
advices
savings
you can
account. It's a
Yeah.
savings account, but
Yeah.
that is only for charitable things.
Mm.
Okay.
But
okay.
even if
So-
you don't,
So
even,
down line that the masjid come, the charity comes
Yeah.
that we need money, you take out from there, you just give it.
Okay. You know, one thing which you said, Hafsa, which is I think is really important to make clear. You know, when you're talking about the best sadaqah, you know, after your fard, you know, like your zakat, etc., the best sadaqah, the best place that you can spend your money is your family.
Yes.
Let's make that a little clear,
that's
because we need
that's
to
a
make
hadith
that.
from Sahih Bukhari.
Okay,
Yeah.
so so let's just say my son, I give him a £3,000 phone. Yeah, I'm just saying, let's make it clear. What do we mean by? Is it the zuriyat? Is it the necessary stuff, or is it like some luxuries on top?
Depends on your financial stability.
Okay.
So if a millionaire can afford to give his son a £3,000 phone, that's fine.
Okay.
Somebody that's just on bare minimum wage, 12,500 or what is it, something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gives a £3,000 phone to his child. That's israf.
Okay.
That's complete waste of money.
But the thing
So
is,
according to your financial stability, spending on your family members, whether it be gifts, because we know the Prophet ﷺ would give gifts to his wives.
Yeah.
That was part of his nature, to keep them happy,
Yeah.
to put a smile on any mu'min's face.
Yeah.
This is tabassumuka li akhika sadaqa. Making your Muslim brother smile, which you've done a lot today anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do it again.
Yeah.
So it's a form of sadaqah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the best people that are more deserving of your sadaqah, your charitable influence, are your direct family members. There's more reward in that as well.
It's more, but it doesn't obviously mean that we don't give to the poor and the needy of the world.
It has to be with balance.
with balance.
When you know, and I was mentioning this just the other day, yesterday, I believe, with my students. Saki was there, I think. Yeah. So whenever giving towards any charitable cause, firstly you consider your family members. So somewhere around the globe, we may know people, or family's family, extended family, or even your neighbors from where we come from back home in our countries. They are the most deserving people of your sadaqah. Not these charities that come around and they're gonna plant these wells in Nepal and
okay, you know the
in
thing
Africa,
is,
whatever. They are the most deserving,
I'm gonna
because Quran describes it in the same order. Dhawil Qurba is the first category mentioned.
Yeah.
Then Yatama, then Masakin. Dhawil Qurba come first.
Yeah.
After
Explain the terms, Yatam.
Dhawil Qurba, wal Yatama, wal Masakin. Those Yatama, those that are orphans,
Orphans.
and Masakin, those that are destitute.
Yeah, needy. Yeah.
In
absolutely.
that, those that are
Yeah.
needy. That's
Yeah.
the categorization. Normally, what we do is we skip all that. We go straight to the
Straight. Yeah.
to the needy,
Yeah.
because it's easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got an appeal happening on TV. Okay, you plug those digits in, gone. Alhamdulillah, I've done my bit. But is that the best? So when
Okay,
we
look-
said,
look,
let me just finish up. When we
on.
said the best sadaqah, Quran's already given us the order.
Subhanallah.
Which is the best sadaqah? Dhawil Qurba come first.
But you know,
I've got a question here. Look, someone who's read the Quran about, for example, he would read, "Innal mubazzirina kanu ikhwan ash-shayateen."
Yeah, those that waste.
Those are waste.
Yeah.
Now, what Khalid Bhai said, a person who buys his son a £3,000 phone with like a £1,000 iPad, right? For example, okay,
Yeah.
right, and then an iMac or whatever, he buys everything for his son. Does that come under wasting money?
Like I said, if he can financially afford it, for a millionaire, that's pennies. For somebody who's on a minimal wage, that's a huge amount.
But when he knows that that will not benefit him,
whether it benefits, that's not the question. Whether he makes use of it or not. Is that the example given? You know, when we see extravagant weddings.
Yes. I was going to come to that.
Yeah, I've probably read your mind. When it comes to extravagant weddings,
Yeah.
if somebody who's on a minimum wage, he's just about surviving, he pulls off a £50,000 wedding, you know he's taken loans, he's had to beg people, he's probably going to pay lots of interest on it. That's innal mubazzirina kanu ikhwana shayateen. They are the friends, they are the brothers of shaitan, those that waste money.
Yeah.
That's a form of waste. But if a billionaire is spending, let's say, a £50,000 wedding on his son's wedding, daughter's wedding, for him that's like giving a £50 a weekly pocket money.
Yeah.
That's what it would seem like to him. For him, he's not. It doesn't bother him. And this is why the hadith says, and it's open to for interpretation, of course, that if Allah's given you wealth, it should show on you as well.
Absolutely, yeah. You should show the name.
There's nothing wrong in
Allah.
spending if you have it.
Favors
is
that
But
Allah
what's
has
wrong is when you don't have it,
given. Yeah.
and then you're going out of your way.
Yeah.
You know, beyond what our Bazurg say, don't spread your chadar beyond what you can reach.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that's when you do that. That's when it's wrong.
I think there's more to it. That, for example, if there is a billionaire and he's spending money upon whatever, it shouldn't be out of arrogance and
We know.
Oh yeah,
We know.
of course.
because
yeah.
then that's wrong.
Most likely, okay, for us people, normal people,
Sure.
yeah, it may seem like he's boasting,
Yeah,
but when he lives in that corporate world, all of his friends are billionaires.
yeah.
For him, it's casual. He's casually just doing it.
Yeah.
It's part of life.
Yeah.
It's part of
Rasad,
life.
You're going to say something?
No, I was gonna say, earlier Uzair was mentioning that you should spend on yourself, and then on your family, and like that's the way you should go. I was going to say, as spending on yourself seems to be the first in line, how much? Where do you draw the line? Like, what if someone says, "I just want to spend on myself"?
That was my next question,
Yeah.
because you see, I was going to because you mentioned weddings. Think about it in this way. Let's just say, as an example, let's just say I live in a house which needs some repair. So I look at what is needed. Tell me where I'm going right or wrong. This is like open criticism. Give me a common example that people do. So I live in a house which needs some repair. So what I say, well, that's a necessary repair. I will spend on that. That's unnecessary repair. So basically, we'll just bear with that, and instead we will send that money to our relatives, let's just say in Pakistan, who are poorer than us and who may need some money. Yeah. So is that okay? First question. Is that how Allah would want us to do it?
For Pakistan.
Yeah, there's stuff here which
only if it's from Pakistan.
No, I
I'm
mean
thinking-
anywhere. Like if I was an Ethiopian, I'll say Ethiopia.
By the
Yeah.
way, it's it's.
You're saying international, basically.
Yeah. International, even in the UK, somebody else who's
Point being, it doesn't
family or
matter
relatives
where
were
the
poor.
person is.
Come on,
Yeah,
we've come out of August now.
Yeah.
So
in September.
Shaman Rani Sahib,
Yeah.
there's a video of him in Holland, okay, where he's saying in the bayan that you people where you live should spend where you live. Stop sending money to international countries over there. You need to spend where you live, so that you as Muslims in the country that you live is easy for you.
No, he's also saying it because of development
Yeah.
of yourself, so you are politically strong, so you can then influence the powers in other
Yeah. Of
countries.
course.
That was like the other side. But
Yeah.
my thing is, I'll give you examples. So let's just say there's 2 Eids and there's a birthday. So let's just say for my wife, I buy her a new dress, £100 plus for those 3 occasions in the year. So when it comes to Qurbani, obviously she doesn't earn, so then I have to give her Qurbani as well, because she's got that many dresses. Okay, now this is a common thing that people do. Is very common. I don't know many people who don't do that. In other words, I don't know about the Qurbani bit, but the thing is that a new dress every birthday, every Eid, people would want to do that. It's a common thing. Would that not be considered to be extravagant? Because you already have like so many dresses, and
when you've now got dresses where it's, I mean, it differs person to person. If they're all in use, then fine. If they're not in use,
obviously they're not going to be in use. What
Yeah.
I mean? Yeah.
then obviously you got to draw the line, or at least recycle those clothes.
Yeah.
Those that are not in use, at least empty your drawer. Otherwise,
Recycle them on the
you
same
know,
body. Yeah.
like mom says, a draw pattern.
I think it comes down to what we said before: perception, how you see it. Okay, I'll give my own example. Qibla Wali Sahab. Okay, he had a dress that he was wearing. It was a yellow color sharag kameez with a nice jacket, blazer type thing. Okay, he wore that for I think 3 years for Eids.
3 Eids, yeah, on each Eid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, but there are 3 years, but there are 2 Eids. That's
Yeah,
for 6 Eids. He's
Yeah.
wearing the same one.
Oh.
Okay, and when we were asking him that, why don't you get a new one? He said, this looks new. What's wrong with it? So it's the way you see it. That do you need a new one? Okay, But if the old one is as new, you
But
actually need a new one.
with women it's different.
With women, it's like
It's
Yeah.
different because
Okay,
with
I
women,
see.
every event they go to, every Eid, oh, fulan, auntie, auntie, they'll all be there.
they've
Yeah,
seen that.
They've already seen
this.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's got to be
The
something new this
norm
time
is
around.
different, right? It's like what are you what are you getting compared to, right?
Yeah.
So for men, like
And somebody who's in their 60s,
ask
70s
ask anyone
doesn't make a
here
difference.
who remembers what we wore on Eid when we saw each other. I don't remember. Like,
Yeah.
do we remember? We don't. But women, these things are
Yeah, yeah,
important
yeah.
to them.
Yeah,
So it's
This is why the
different.
women, yeah.
yeah. Okay.
It's like the clothes, then the bag,
Yeah.
bigger than the shoes,
Yeah.
right? It has to
Now
be
look,
on,
now
on,
this is what I'm
on
saying.
point,
I think Hafsa's been spending.
right? Just
After marriage,
right,
of course.
okay, that's one mistake that I
He's
made
taking
once.
out his
You made a
frustration.
mistake.
I made a mistake.
Oh,
okay,
dear.
I took my missus to Longside Market, right, and she liked one suit. She said, "I'm getting that one." End of story. Right, and it cost
End
right,
of story.
End of story. Right, and it costed me over £80.
So
Is that
what
it?
was
Oh,
the lesson?
wow,
that's
What
a
was the-
deal.
what was the
I was
lesson?
like,
deal.
"Inna
What was-
lillahi wa
What was
inna
the lesson you took? Never take your wife to Longside
Longside
Market?
Longside Market."
Take it to Harrods instead.
So
Actually,
it differs person to person, of course.
Yeah.
But like I said, depending on your environment and your financial stability,
Yeah.
whatever's reasonable.
Yeah.
And you have to be genuine about it. If you live in an environment where the demand is to, let's say, have a new pair every Eid,
yeah.
and I think I just making an ijtihad on the moment, yeah.
Okay.
The way when you have mahar,
Hmm.
mahar dowry is given, yeah, and mahar mithal is given as well.
Yeah.
So for a woman you get married to, the mahar should be equivalent to what the norm in her family is.
And her family, yeah.
Yeah. See what I'm
Yeah.
trying to link the financial stability to what her norm is. Then you have to provide for her norm because you knowingly got married into that family, that this is their tradition. Every Eid they're gonna have to have 3 new pairs, and for 3 days, and you were getting indulged into that family. You have to put up with it. And at that time, I don't think it's israf because that's the norm in their family.
But let's just make that we don't cause husband-wife fights here.
So we're not
Basically-
comparing
can
any
I-
community,
we're not
any zat, any
Absolutely,
family
absolutely.
background with one
But
another.
we are saying that there's always understanding between husband and wife, even after they get married. Like even if a wife comes from, the top end of London, sort of expensive homes, and then comes up to Manchester,
branded, yeah.
that like in I'm not.
You know,
nothing
one thing I
against
want
people in
to
poor
say here,
areas,
you know,
but
in our subcontinent culture, the jahez, how do you say in English jahez?
Dowry.
The dowry.
dowry.
Yeah.
Dowry,
Yeah.
right? We say that it's the woman should bring it with her, the jahez, into the new house. This is our culture,
Yeah.
innit? But Islamically, that's wrong.
Yeah. No, she
Islamically,
can,
it is the husband who should provide the jahez for the wife.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
For example, Mullah Ali Shaykh Khuda Raziyallahu Ta'ala, his wedding, he provided everything. Because he asked the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, what should I give her?
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Can I just?
By the way, Abuji was calculating, the sunnah mahar.
Yeah. How much is it?
Not many people know that,
Yeah.
the sunnah mahar. And we were just discussing the other day when we were driving to Nelson with him. He was describing, because he's writing the seerah, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And now he came to the aspect of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam wives,
Yeah.
his walimas and nikahs and mahar that he used to give. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam gave a hefty mahar
Yeah.
for that time, equivalent to now, I believe it was around £2,500
Uh-huh.
or more, something like that. I'll mention next week. I'll confirm.
Yeah, we'll confirm.
it
So
wa-
nobody,
it wa-
please go away with this knowledge at the moment.
Yeah,
we'll,
but
we'll-
it was
yeah, yeah.
it. The point was, it was a heavy. It was quite a large amount.
And
It
also
wasn't the
we need
norm.
we
It was-
also need to know that is it incumbent on to give that much, or is there some flexibility? Because usually there's an agreement as well.
agreement. The
Yeah.
bare minimum, I think, when converted in pounds,
Yeah.
is about £30,
Yeah,
or even less
absolutely.
than that.
Even less than £30.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But the sunnah mahar
Yeah.
is beyond £2,000.
Remember, please point for viewers, it's sunnah, not farad, because some people go away thinking,
But
yeah.
it's wajib, by the way.
Okay, wajib. So we need to make clear that is the
Meaning
two
it
and a
has
half-
to be given in the lifetime,
Yeah,
or else. So it can be given in the lifetime, or the wife can choose to forgive and say, "Look, I don't need it.
yeah, yeah.
Forget about
yeah,
it."
Yeah.
Otherwise, on the akhirah, she has a right to ask Allah Ta'ala that He didn't give my mahar.
Absolutely. So basically, you can't have any relationships and etc. Without.
It's
yeah.
it's like a gift,
It's like a gift. Yeah.
but a necessary gift.
Unnecessary good.
But I had a question in Kuba once in regards to this mahar, that when the Maulvi Sahib does the nikah, what did he say? But it was £100 mahar.
Yeah.
When they say that.
Yeah.
So the question this person raised was, why are you saying but it was £100? Does that mean that you're selling her to the husband?
No,
but it was
No.
no.
That's,
Okay,
that's
It's a wajib gift.
some
that has
people
to be-
question that. Some people
No,
say,
it's a
why are you
gift.
saying
When
this
you-
word?
There's a lot deeper understanding. Some bits we can't share on screen. Yeah. It's for a
adult
Mature
audience,
adult audience, or it's for a daras.
for a dars, for a teaching.
But
as a
it's
lesson.
wajib, put it that way. That's
It's
it.
wajib. So just to make it clear, because we don't want viewers to go away and have
Yeah, a lot of
arguments.
subjects we've covered today.
Yeah, okay. So ending it with a few things, just two things. Number one, this
Let's conclude.
next week, everybody hold fire. Next week we will come back and give you the full aspect of the mahar and how it works. Yeah, that's one thing. And the last thing which I was going to say, which was connected to what I was saying, which is a common thing, because we're living in the UK. If we were Ethiopians, half I'll talk about Ethiopia, but we're Pakistani, so Pakistan. It's a really common thing that they talk about. Like Ramzan Sharif comes and you give sadaqah and fitran and all this kind of thing. So there has been now a trend, which is that before in the past they used to send a lot of money back home to relatives, poor relatives, but the trend has changed now, where not that much money is being sent back home, but instead giving to famous like charities. Yeah, okay. Now when you ask the reasons why, because this has caused a lot of family relationship breakdowns as well. You ask the reasons why, say, well, we kept on supporting them for that long in Pakistan, and basically when we couldn't sometimes afford it or need it here, we had problems like they were backbiting us or doing magic on us or something like that. Yeah, so the best thing to do is not try. Sometimes like secret, somebody sent this to you here and there, but don't send them that much, too much. Also, because they become lazy, or they become expectant, and they become lazy over there.
Yeah.
They become dependent on it. They're not going to go out and work. Yeah. So Islamically, of course, you're supposed to look at your closest blood, your kin, and then go out with like that. But obviously, there must be some hikmat. You just end with this today. There must be some wisdom in doing this, because this is like a real life and a very common
It's because
problem.
their primary outreach is people like yourself, isn't it? That's their first source of people that they can reach out to. They're not going to have contact to people in America and Canada who are millionaires or who are well off, and they're just going to randomly pick up a phone, please, I need some support. Nobody's going to do that. Their first point of reaching out to somebody is somebody that they know, which is the wil qurba, which are your blood relatives or people that you know directly.
But
And if you are not going to support them
when
and-
they're
and-
in need. Yeah.
when they're in need,
Yeah.
and you being blood,
Yeah.
if you're not going to support, then who
Yeah.
is?
But
Absolutely.
I think there's
This
also
is where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam described that there's double reward
Yeah.
in giving to the wil arham, those are family members, one reward for supporting them, and one reward for maintaining that family tie.
Yeah.
That's why you give it to them.
Yeah.
And then on the day of judgment, the reward is also multiplied for your sadaqah plus your financial support, and also for maintaining that family tie.
Yeah.
And it goes a long way.
Yeah. Okay. I'm
Sure.
going to say last is a bit controversial,
That leads
but
to
it's
the
very
thing where I
common.
said that you
Yeah.
have a separate account. and
Yeah,
just-
yeah. Okay,
just
you can
keep
do
it
it that
separate.
way.
You
So,
can do it
so
anyway.
here's something really controversial, but is really honest, and we all know that it happens. And I think podcasts are good for discussing stuff like this, which is, let's just say an uncle or an auntie or somebody says, oh, my daughter wants to study abroad, or my son wants to go abroad to work, so can you send so much thousands of pounds for them to go? Now, who are they going to pay? An agent. Yeah. Now, this agent, this is so common, like, is this agent going to guarantee them going, oh, yes, they guarantee, and then it doesn't work. And after a few years, they say, oh, we found a more reliable agent now who's going to bring our son to the UK.
Or from back home.
From back home. Yeah.
Okay.
So is that come under supporting, maintaining kinship ties and, double swab, or is that something we should not? One of the things I say
think
is
it
we can
differs
give you
person to-
money to staff business in Pakistan. Why risk, going abroad? But anyway, what would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
I don't know what Allah would say, but
Well, you know what we're talking about. Religiously, what would what would
You know,
Allah SWT
I think
expect from us?
just to add a small note there, what I was going to mention after you were mentioning, the earlier comments, was that it's actually part of culture there for many people to actually, when they see the opportunity of someone that with more wealth than them, just ask for money. And the person, especially the culture we come from or we live in, I would feel really awkward if someone asked me that question, right? Like, why were you putting me, and I'll be a bit annoyed because why are you purposely putting me in such a situation in front of people that, like, you're almost kind of forcing my hand to, like, in a way
to support
you, when you probably don't even need the support. You're just taking advantage of the fact that I've got a bit of
There's a
wealth.
hadith on this that whoever starts to beg will always beg.
Will always beg,
He'll never come out of that thing.
Yes,
But on begging,
this is why you wouldn't support them.
would that classify as begging?
Yeah.
Because with beggars, and tell me if I'm wrong, isn't it that unless they don't even have enough for one meal a day and to cover themselves, they shouldn't beg you. If you want to give money, you can give yourself, but it shouldn't be as a result of them begging you. When it comes to giving to even beggars and things like this,
They shouldn't.
they shouldn't ask you,
They
right?
shouldn't.
So if they shouldn't
Because
ask
hadith,
you as a
I
beggar,
remember reading somewhere, it's from the major sins.
yeah,
From,
So
from the kabair sin is to ask for financial support when you know you can't support yourself, or where you know there are means.
and
So where you know you can't go out, work hard, but you go for you take the easy route, just go and ask somebody. Then you know you potentially were able to work or have some source of income, maybe not as quick as obviously this opportunity. I go to you, give a check straight away. But yeah, they shouldn't.
All these grey areas, I think they really need to be
But
discussed.
they are grey areas. I think it differs from scenario to scenario.
Yeah, can I just say
So this question that you were asking regarding supporting them,
Yeah.
their child coming here, there's an aspect of hirs in there as well, knowledge, where they have a
Greed,
comfortable life back home, they have jobs and everything, but they just want more for their child, and that more means having to beg, having to cry out to people out, in a better financial position, just so that their son could go out, not knowing what's out here. But it differs. This is we're only generalizing, by the way.
Of course.
And it differs case to case.
Case to case. Hopefully we'll end on this one now because it's getting a bit late. It's something recently that happened was this sort of khabar, this sort of news went out that there's this lady who's in Pakistan in a village, and her husband is a drug dealer, and basically he's not doing too well. So therefore, what she's saying is for my children, as they're growing up, then I would want to build a house for them. Some people reply to her that you can basically let them grow up and Allah SWT will provide rizq and they will work. That's one thing. And other people say no, we should give her. But then she has now the habit of
keeping asking
people from England.
See, then it become dependency
because the children will grow up and work at the end of the day, inshallah. Yeah, so grey areas, but inshallah SWT, we just thought we'll mention a few. Jazakumul khair.
Take it, inshallah. Thank you, technician. All the reward goes to Thaqib, who's behind screen. You guys have never seen him. We should have him up here one day.
I'm behind screen as well. Okay,
but
so
you choose not to come here. He can come up here.
Yeah, mashallah.
Jali, okay. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakumul khair. Wa alaikum assalam.
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.